morning. It's actually December the 1st, 2018, and the last day of November kind of went out with a bang. We actually had a kind of a weird weather event. It's been a pretty tough trapping weather year so far for the first 2 weeks of the trapping season here in the Ozarks. We've had 2 or 3 snows, which I don't mind. I can deal with the snow. I can trap in the snow perfectly fine. But we've had a lot of rain, way more rain than we normally have. And last night we had probably a good 2 to 2.5 inches of rain. We had wind, we had lightning. It was weird. The temperatures are really warm. And now today you can see the traps are hideous. As you can see, the dirt hole is completely full of water. The trap bed is completely full of mud. Here's my pan right here. You can see it's just all mud. You can see I have a little bit of peat moss in there. The peat moss is actually pretty dry underneath there. But the problem here in the Ozarks is the dirt has so much clay in it. And even though I use dry dirt and I gather dry dirt from several different places, like a couple of old cabins and a couple of old barns and things like that, it still has clay in it. And as soon as it gets wet like this, then when it starts to dry, and you know, we have some days that you get back up into like today is going to be like 50, I think. That clay just turns hard and basically creates this cake over the top of the trap. So you got to come out here, and when you have a big rain like that, you got to like get that off. You got to get that cake off the top and put some more dry dirt on there, otherwise the traps just will not function. It's not been so cold that I've moved to dry or wax dirt yet. That helps some in the winter, but once it gets cold, you don't have to worry about the rain. It just snows, and the wax dirt it's much easier to deal with than this in between late November, early December, where we have this, you know, it's cold for a few days and it's warm for a few days, and if weather comes through and it's warm for a few days, then you get nothing but rain, and it just basically screws everything up. And keeping your traps functioning is difficult. That's why this year I've been putting in some pipe dream sets and some other things to try to alleviate some of the weather issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically get the mud and the clay off of this set, put some dry dirt back in here, put some more peat moss around my trap, and then just try to get this thing back to going. Okay, there's the finished set. Basically, it's at this road intersection. Got a road that goes down here into the valley, a couple of big ponds. The coyotes are working this road up through the cedars, down past the 2 big ponds. I caught a couple of coyotes on those dams down there already, and I caught a couple of coyotes here already, because you have this road that goes this way and the road that goes this way, and there's like a little intersection right here, and the coyotes are just traveling along the edge of this ridge looking for mice and rabbits and things like that. The farmer comes in here, he's got cows in here, he's obviously feeding hay. So what I thought I'd do is, I ended up here's where my old trap was, which was the last coyote I caught about 3 days ago. And after the big rain last night, it's just a big, basically giant mud hole. When I pulled the trap up to look at it, I mean, the top was just covered in mud, that clay mud that would get all hard, so I had to do something with that. The peat moss actually was pretty dry underneath there, but then the trap itself was sitting in water, and the dirt hole was completely full of water. It's going to be back in the 20s again starting tomorrow, and that whole thing would have just froze up. There's no way I can keep it going in that weather. So I went ahead, and I couldn't reset it because it was just so muddy. So I went ahead and pulled it, and I moved it to there, which is basically on the outside of the previous catch circle. So it's still a good area. It's still right here at this road intersection. And since the farmer's feeding hay in here, I kind of did a little modified pipe dream / hay kind of set. And what I've done here is I put my PVC pipe in there, as you can see. I put a little O'Gorman's Powder River down inside the PVC pipe, and then I put some Coyote Caven's Yodel Dog on the outside of the pipe, and then I put some red fox urine in there, and then I put a little bit of hay here on the back, and then in the front, I did not do like the complete pipe cream set. I went ahead and bedded the trap, bedded it in, put some peat moss inside the jaws and around the pan, and then dry dirt around the outside, and then I used some coyote scat that was left here from the last coyote that I caught, and that's basically what I got going. And the reason I did that is, number one, the coyotes are used to hay. I mean, they're running through out here where these farmers are feeding hay all the time, so they're used to hay. But right here in this particular spot, with the storm we had and the big wind, if you look around, there's really not any hay left, plus the cows have eaten everything. So this little hay thing kind of sticks out. It kind of looks like, whoa, look at that over there. That's something that the coyotes would be attracted to. Plus they're going to get up there, they're going to see that PVC pipe. They're not going to know what that is, but they're going to be able to smell the bait down in the PVC pipe. And then a Gorman's Powder River bait is pretty rank anyway. And then they're going to have the lure, they're going to have the urine, they're going to have the coyote scat, and hopefully they're going to get in there and mess around. And then there should still be, even after this big rain, there should still be a little bit of the coyote scent from the last catch. So between all those things, hopefully that's going to be a good set. There is no more rain in the forecast for the next week, so this set should be doing good here. And then after this week, I'm going to actually pull all my sets from this location and move to the next location, which is actually significantly better than this one. Just because they're finally done, the farmers are done deer hunting now over there. In that next location, it's about 2,000 acres. This is about 800, maybe 900. And I've done okay here in the last 2 weeks, but I want to move to the next location now. So that's kind of where I am. I'll be moving on. I'll be trying to shoot video this whole day as I try to get this line back in after the big storm last night. Okay, so sometimes when you're out trapping, of course, weather is always a problem. But one thing you can do is try to help the farmers whenever you can. So this is a spot right here where I caught a big male coyote the other day. He was barking at me. He was pretty rough. And I reset this trap. And the reason I reset it is it's such a good spot. You got a little road that goes down, runs through the bottom of this valley. You can't really see, but runs down through the bottom of this valley. There's a creek. You can see there's a little feeder stream that runs into the main creek. And then the road comes up and goes across the top of this big dam and then out into this big pond. Well, as you can see, here's the spillway over here, and the water's trying to go out the spillway. You can see the farmer put some netting in there, some fencing in there to try to keep his crappie and his bass from flowing out. But as you can see, I had another trap on the other side of the dam, right over there, because it's such a good spot for these coyotes to run, because you got this big water area. The road continues around the side of the dam and just continues right up the valley. And there's another dam there with another big pond, not quite as big as this one, but maybe half again as big. But as you can see, this dam is having some issues. So I had another trap on the other side there, which was a flat set. This one was a dirt hole set. The one that I caught the coyote in was actually a flat set, and then I changed it into a dirt hole set, and then I put a flat set in over there. Well, I went ahead and pulled both of these traps. You can see the road that goes around the side of the dam is actually underwater, and you can see this dam is it's looking a little sketchy. And I have been driving my side-by-side across here, but I don't feel comfortable doing that anymore. But you can see the water is basically at the very top of the dam, and here is the narrow part of the dam. You can see what has happened here. The side of the dam is sunk down about probably, I don't know, maybe 14, 16 inches in some spots, 18 inches. And you can see these cracks are going right up to where the water is about to get up on the top of the dam. So I honestly wanted nothing to do with leaving my traps up here, because if this dam goes, my traps are gone, and I've got money invested in those MB550s and JC Connor springs and everything else, and I don't want to lose my traps. So I went ahead and just pulled them off of this dam, and I notified the farmer, and he's going to come down here with his dozer and try to do some try to do some repairs to his dam, or at least maybe relieve some of this water pressure before it goes. You can see the water is basically just running down through the dam itself. So don't know what it's going to happen. But this is a way to basically protect yourself, get your traps out of here, trying to deal with the weather, and also let the farmer know, be a good Samaritan, help him out, which goes a long way to allowing him to continue to let you trap on his land and be respectful of his land and help him out, because he's a good guy and he's not down here and he needs to know what's going on with his land. So here's another set. This one is one I caught a gray fox in, I don't know, 5 or 6 days ago. But you can see that all that rain last night basically covered up or uncovered my trap pan, and my dirt hole is completely full of water. So just another set that I'm going to have to work on today. But at least I was able to save the farmer's pond. That feels good. He was super happy, so that's always good to do something nice for somebody when you're out here checking, traps on their land, and they're not always on all parts of their land. He's got a 1,500 acre farm. He's not everywhere, so he's pretty happy about that. So. Okay, we're still resetting traps after the big storm last night. So this is a location where we got a little pond right here. We got a farm road right over there along the other side of the pond, and we got a major cattle path right down through here. And there's all kinds of scat as the animals are working around the backside of this pond bank. There's coyote scat here, and there's also bobcat scat here. So first thing I did was, when I set a trap here about a week ago, within the first couple days I caught a skunk. So the area still smells like skunk around here, which is actually an excellent attractor. Even after the big storm and all the rain we've had, it still smells like skunk. So I had a dirt hole here. That's what I caught the skunk in. And went ahead and reset the dirt hole. Didn't get anything for the last 3 or 4 days. And today the dirt hole is completely full of water. The trap bed itself did not have water in it. It was a little muddy, but not so bad. So I went ahead and just put the trap right back in the hole. And you can tell where I've, scattered. I put some dry dirt in there and some peat moss in there just to kind of try to keep it wet or keep it dry. And then I just sifted some dirt from here in the area, like from around the ground here, to kind of blend it in a little bit. But since my dirt hole was completely full of water, what I did is, if you can look close, I put a T-bone in there, and rather than just nail a T-bone into the ground with a hammer, which is what I do, and just leave it, I have discovered that I have much better success with T-bones if I try to cover them up. So in this, all I did was gather some old straw that was around that the farmer had been, or some hay I should say, that the farmer had been feeding, and just some other dirt clods from around here, and so a little bit of debris. I didn't want to make it too big and out and boisterous looking, but just a little bit to kind of make it look like there's a T-bone in there, and something basically tried to bury it. So I used the dirt hole, hammered the T-bone down in there, put my bait inside the little hole that's in the T-bone, put some lure on there, put some urine on there, and now you can see that this has got some excellent attractant to it from just, the debris. It looks a little bit different than everything else around here, you can see. Now that dirt in and of itself, that'll dry out, and that'll kind of blend in a lot more over the next 24 hours. But at least you have this little setup here, and you can see, they'll be able to see that T-bone kind of sticking out. You think, oh, I'd really need a T-bone that just sticks out above everything, and I've discovered that that's really not as good as if you try to cover it up, because that's what animals do. That's what the coyotes are doing. and that's what they're used to trying to see, is trying to bury it from each other and hide it from each other. So I've realized that my catches are significantly better, probably some 30% better when I bury the T-bone up a little bit versus just leave it out in the open. And then just for grins, I threw a duck wing up in a tree here, just so that everything in an area would be able to see the duck wing. Gray foxes are obviously attracted to it. Cats for sure are attracted to it. And then the set itself is probably 8 feet away from the wing. And anything that's going up and down this trail, which is full of deer tracks, full of coyote tracks, is going to see this wing, it's going to see this set, and hopefully I'm going to connect in the next couple days.